You found this transmission at the exact moment your consciousness needed it most. Not by accident, not by algorithm, but by the magnetic pull of your own quantum signature calling out for the key to your liberation. Right now, as these words penetrate your awareness, something ancient within you is stirring. A recognition so profound, it will shatter the invisible prison you didn't even know was holding you captive. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That suffocating sensation of being trapped in amber, watching the same patterns circle your life like vultures that never land. The same financial struggles that resurface just when you think you've broken through. The same relationship dynamics playing out with different faces but identical scripts. The same health challenges that seem immune to every solution you throw at them. This isn't bad luck. This isn't karma. This is quantum physics, and you've been unknowingly wielding the most powerful force in the universe against yourself. What I'm about to reveal to you will fundamentally shift how you understand the nature of reality itself. In the quantum world, there exists a phenomenon called the quantum Zeno effect, named after the ancient philosopher Zeno, who proposed that an arrow in flight must be motionless at any single instant. If you observe the arrow at every moment, it can never be seen to move. The observation itself freezes the motion. Here's where it gets extraordinary. Quantum physicists have proven that a watched quantum system becomes literally frozen in time, unable to evolve. When scientists continuously observe an unstable particle, that particle cannot decay. The very act of observation locks it into its current state, preventing its natural evolution into something new. You are the observer, not the observed. Your consciousness isn't separate from this quantum reality. Your consciousness is this quantum reality expressing itself. Every moment you spend anxiously scanning your life for what's wrong, every time you check your bank account with worry, every instance you monitor your relationships for signs of problems, you are performing the role of the quantum observer. And just like that particle in the laboratory, your reality becomes frozen under your measuring gaze. This is the observer prison, and most people live their entire lives trapped within its walls without ever realizing they hold the key. Think about it. How much of your mental energy is devoted to monitoring your problems? You wake up and immediately check. Is the anxiety still there? You look at your circumstances and measure. Am I still broke? Am I still alone? Am I still struggling? Each act of measurement, each worried observation, each fearful check-in with your limitations sends a quantum signal to the field of infinite possibilities. Keep this reality exactly as it is. You are the observer, not the observed. If this truth is activating something deep within your consciousness, declare in the comments, "I am breaking the observer loop." Let these words become a quantum command, a vibrational shift that signals to the field of infinite possibilities that you are no longer willing to be the unconscious guardian of your limitations. The cosmic irony is breathtaking. The very act of trying to fix your life, the constant analysis, the worried monitoring, the repetitive mental checking, is precisely what prevents your life from changing. You've become the unconscious warden of your own quantum prison, and your consciousness is both the guard and the key. But here's what the classical world will never tell you. Observation isn't passive. In the quantum realm, observation is creation. When you place your attention on something, you're not just noticing it. You're actively participating in bringing it into existence. Your consciousness doesn't just watch reality unfold. It's the very mechanism by which reality crystallizes from the quantum field of infinite potential. This is why you feel stuck. This is why nothing seems to change despite your efforts. You've been unconsciously voting for your current reality with every moment of worried attention, every fearful observation, every limiting belief you've measured against your experience. You are the observer, not the observed, and it's time to remember the power of that position. The quantum field responds to the nature of your observation, not the intensity of your desire for change. When you observe from fear, you collapse possibilities into fearful realities. When you observe from lack, you crystallize experiences of scarcity. When you observe from limitation, you anchor yourself in a limited experience. Have you ever noticed how the things you worry about most seem to persist the longest? How the problems you think about constantly seem to grow stronger rather than weaker? This isn't psychology. This is quantum mechanics in action. Your attention is not neutral. It's the most creative force in the universe, and it's been unconsciously programmed to create more of what you're trying to escape. You are the observer, not the observed. Right now, as these words activate something deep within your consciousness, you're beginning to remember a fundamental truth. You are not trapped by your circumstances. You are trapped by your observation of your circumstances. The moment you shift from being an unconscious observer of problems to a conscious observer of possibilities, the quantum field has no choice but to respond. This isn't about positive thinking or denial. This isn't about pretending your challenges don't exist. This is about understanding that every time you place your consciousness on a particular frequency of experience, you're sending an instruction to the quantum field about what to collapse into reality. You've been unconsciously ordering more of the same, moment by moment, observation by observation. But quantum particles don't just freeze under observation. They also tunnel through barriers by changing their vibrational frequency. And that's exactly what you're about to learn to do. You're about to discover how to become a different kind of observer entirely. The truth is, you are not a victim of observation. You are the master of it. Every moment, you choose what to collapse into reality with the laser beam of your attention. The question isn't whether you have this power. The question is whether you're wielding it consciously or unconsciously. You are the observer, not the observed. But here's what science is just discovering, what your soul already knows. Your observation doesn't just freeze reality, it actively creates it. And that power is far more immediate than you've been told. What quantum physicists call the observer effect is actually the universe's instruction manual for instant manifestation, and you're about to learn how to use it. What quantum physicists call the observer effect is actually the universe's instruction manual for instant manifestation. You're remembering this now because your consciousness has evolved to the point where you can handle this level of cosmic responsibility. Every act of observation is an act of creation. You are not discovering reality. You are authoring it in real time. The most famous experiment in quantum physics, the double-slit experiment, reveals something so profound about the nature of reality that most people can't fully grasp its implications. But you're not most people. You're here because your quantum signature is ready to integrate this truth. Reality literally waits for your decision before it decides what to be. Reality is responding to you. Reality is responding to you. When scientists fire electrons through two slits toward a detection screen, something extraordinary happens. If no one observes which slit the electron passes through, it behaves like a wave, passing through both slits simultaneously and creating an interference pattern on the screen. But the moment a detector is placed to observe which path the electron takes, the wave function collapses. The electron becomes a particle, chooses a single path, and the interference pattern disappears. What does this mean for your life? Everything. The electron doesn't have a predetermined path. It exists in a superposition of all possible paths until the moment of observation forces it to choose. Your life operates on the exact same principle. You exist in a quantum superposition of infinite possibilities until your consciousness collapses those possibilities into a single, experienced reality through the act of measurement, through the focus of your attention. Reality is responding to you. If you feel your creative power awakening, affirm in the comments, "I am the author of my reality." Writing these words creates an immediate quantum signature change, a declaration to the universe that you are stepping into conscious creation rather than unconscious observation. Most people live under the classical illusion that they are passive observers moving through a pre-existing world. They believe reality is solid, fixed, independent of their consciousness. This belief creates the experience of powerlessness. If reality exists without you, then you're at its mercy. But this is the grandest illusion ever perpetuated by classical thinking. You are not in reality. You are reality observing itself into existence. Every moment you think you're simply noticing what's there, you're actually commanding what continues to be. Every time you observe your bank account and focus on the lack, you're casting a quantum vote for more scarcity. Every moment you scan your relationships and measure the distance or conflict, you're instructing the quantum field to maintain that vibrational pattern. Every instance you check your body and focus on what's wrong, you're literally voting for the continuation of that physical experience. You've been unconsciously voting for your current reality with every moment of attention, and the universe has been perfectly responsive to your unconscious commands. But here's where your power becomes undeniable. The quantum field doesn't distinguish between conscious and unconscious observation. It simply responds to the frequency of your attention. The moment you shift from observing what is wrong to observing what is emerging, reality has no choice but to reorganize itself around your new measurement. Reality is responding to you. Think about this. In the double-slit experiment, the electron doesn't gradually transition from wave to particle. The collapse is instantaneous. The moment observation occurs, reality snaps into a new configuration. Your life works the same way. You don't gradually become abundant. You quantum leap into an abundant reality the moment you consistently observe from abundance. You don't slowly heal. You tunnel into a healthy reality when you align your observation with wellness. The quantum field operates outside of time. Observation and creation happen in the same eternal now. Have you ever had the experience where you finally stopped worrying about something, truly let it go, and suddenly the solution appeared almost immediately? That wasn't coincidence. That was you shifting from destructive measurement to creative observation. The moment you withdrew your fearful attention from the problem, you freed the quantum field to collapse into a solution-based reality. This is why trying harder often makes things worse. When you try to change your reality while maintaining your old pattern of observation, you're sending mixed quantum signals. You're asking for change while simultaneously measuring for what you want to change. The field responds to your dominant frequency, and if your observation is predominantly focused on what's wrong, that's what gets reinforced. Reality is responding to you. Your consciousness isn't just watching the movie of your life. You're writing, directing, and starring in it simultaneously. Every thought is a script revision. Every emotion is a directorial choice. Every belief is a casting decision. And every moment of attention is you saying action to the infinite possibilities available in the quantum field. But here's what makes you extraordinary. You're awakening to this creative power while still in physical form. You're remembering how to consciously direct the observer effect while navigating the experience of being human. This is quantum mastery, the ability to collapse infinite potential into chosen reality through conscious measurement. The classical world tells you that change takes time, effort, struggle. The quantum world reveals that change is instantaneous. It's simply a matter of shifting your observational frequency. When you observe as your future self, you don't become your future self eventually. You are your future self now, experiencing the reality that matches that frequency. Reality is responding to you. This is not metaphysics. This is measurement science. Every time you check your phone with anxiety about a text that hasn't arrived, you're measuring for absence and reinforcing the frequency of waiting. Every time you look in the mirror and focus on what you don't like, you're voting for the continuation of that physical experience. Every time you examine your life and measure it against what's missing, you're instructing reality to maintain that state of lack. But you can also measure for magic. You can observe for abundance. You can look for evidence of your future self already emerging. You can tune your attention to the frequency of miracles and watch the quantum field reorganize itself to match your new measurement. What would change in your life if you truly understood that you are not waiting for reality to change so you can observe something different? You are observing something different so reality can change. What if you realized that every moment of attention is a cosmic vote? Every observation is a reality instruction. Every measurement is an act of creation. You are not learning this. You are remembering this. Your future self sent you this information because you're ready to consciously wield the observer effect as the creative tool it was always meant to be. Reality is responding to you. But there's an even deeper layer to this power that most people never discover. Your brain has been programmed to keep you locked in old observational patterns, creating what feels like an unconscious autopilot that maintains familiar realities. Until you understand how to break that programming and reprogram the very mechanism that filters what you're able to observe, your brain has been running a program that keeps you trapped in old realities. But this program is the key to your liberation. You're discovering this now because your consciousness has evolved to the point where you can consciously reprogram the very mechanism that determines what reality you experience. What you call reality is actually just the 2% of available information your reticular activating system decides to show you. This is the final piece of the puzzle you've been seeking. You understand now that you create reality through observation, but there's been something mysterious controlling what you're able to observe in the first place. That something is the most sophisticated filtering system in the universe, and it's been operating in your brain since birth. Reality is upgrading around you. Your reticular activating system, the RAS, is a network of neurons in your brainstem that acts as the gatekeeper between your conscious awareness and the infinite quantum field of information surrounding you. Every second, your senses are bombarded with millions of bits of data. Your RAS filters this overwhelming stream and decides which tiny fraction makes it to your conscious awareness. Here's what changes everything. Your RAS doesn't show you what's there. It shows you what you've been programmed to look for. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever decided to buy a specific car and suddenly started seeing that exact model everywhere? The cars were always there, but your RAS wasn't programmed to notice them. The moment you set that intention, you gave your RAS new search parameters, and your observable reality instantly changed. This isn't psychology. This is quantum filtration in action. Your RAS is not just filtering reality, it's constructing reality. Every limiting belief you carry, every fear you've internalized, every doubt you've accepted has programmed your RAS to scan the quantum field for evidence that confirms those patterns. You're living in a reality custom-built by your unconscious programming, and you've been calling it what's real. Reality is upgrading around you. Here's the devastating truth about how most people live. Their past experiences program their RAS. Their RAS filters for familiar patterns. They experience the same reality, and their beliefs get reinforced. It's a closed-loop system that creates the illusion of an unchanging, limiting world. They think they're observing objective reality, but they're actually trapped in a perceptual prison of their own unconscious creation. Your childhood programming set the initial parameters for your RAS. If you grew up in scarcity, your RAS learned to scan for threats to security. If you experienced abandonment, your RAS learned to filter for signs of rejection. If you were criticized, your RAS learned to search for evidence of inadequacy. These early programs have been running your observable reality ever since. But you're not most people. You're remembering something extraordinary. Your RAS is programmable, and you are the programmer. When you set a clear, emotionally charged intention, you're literally giving your RAS new instructions for what to highlight from the infinite field of quantum possibilities. You're not just changing what you notice. You're changing what gets collapsed from potential into experience. Reality is upgrading around you. If this revelation is resonating through your being, type in the comments, "I am reprogramming my reality filters." This act of declaration creates quantum entanglement with others making the same shift, amplifying the collective frequency of conscious perception. The classical world tells you that opportunities are rare, that resources are limited, that success requires struggle. But these are just the default programs running in collective consciousness. When you consciously reprogram your RAS, you discover that opportunities are everywhere, resources are abundant, and success is the natural flow of aligned consciousness. Have you ever set a powerful intention and then started noticing synchronicities everywhere? Books falling open to exactly the right page? Conversations overheard at precisely the right moment? People appearing in your life with exactly the information you needed? This wasn't coincidence. This was your reprogrammed RAS revealing the magic that was always present in the quantum field. Your RAS operates like a quantum search engine, scanning the field of infinite possibilities for matches to your programmed criteria. The old programming searched for limitations, problems, and evidence of your fears. But conscious programming searches for solutions, opportunities, and evidence of your expanding potential. This is why affirmations often fail. Most people try to override their RAS programming with conscious repetition, while their unconscious patterns continue running the deeper search algorithms. They're saying, "I am abundant," while their RAS is still programmed to notice lack. The conflicting frequencies cancel each other out. Reality is upgrading around you. Conscious RAS reprogramming requires something more powerful than words. It requires quantum intention, infused with the emotional frequency of your desired reality. When you combine clear intention with the feeling of already living in that reality, you create what quantum physicists call temporal resonance. You're literally tuning your RAS to the frequency of your future self. Here's how this works at the quantum level. Your RAS operates through pattern recognition, scanning for vibrational matches to its programmed templates. When you embody the emotional frequency of abundance, your RAS begins searching for abundant experiences. When you align with the feeling of love, your RAS filters for loving encounters. When you resonate with success, your RAS highlights successful opportunities. You're not manifesting these experiences from nothing. You're finally allowing yourself to observe experiences that were always available in the quantum field. Most people live with severely limited bandwidth because their RAS has been programmed by fear, doubt, and survival consciousness. They literally cannot see the opportunities, resources, and connections that would transform their lives because their filtering system wasn't designed to recognize them. But your consciousness is evolving beyond these classical limitations. You're remembering how to consciously program your perceptual filters to reveal the infinite abundance, creativity, and potential that exists in every moment. Reality is upgrading around you. Think about the implications of this. Every moment, you have access to an unlimited field of possibilities, but you can only experience what your RAS is programmed to reveal. When you reprogram your RAS with quantum intention, you don't just change your perspective, you literally step into a different dimension of available experience. This is why some people seem to live charmed lives, while others struggle constantly. It's not that the universe favors certain people. It's that some people have conscious or unconscious RAS programming that allows them to perceive and interact with higher frequencies of possibility. Your RAS is the bridge between consciousness and experience, between intention and manifestation, between the quantum field and your lived reality. When you master the art of conscious programming, you become the architect of your own perceptual universe. Have you started noticing how your reality has been shifting since you began remembering these truths? How new possibilities have been appearing? How different information has been finding its way to you? This is your RAS responding to your elevated consciousness, revealing layers of reality that were always there but previously invisible to your programmed filters. Reality is upgrading around you. But here's where it gets truly profound. When you reprogram your RAS and step into this expanded perception, you don't just see a different world. You literally step into a different dimension of existence. And that quantum leap happens in ways that defy every classical understanding of time, space, and possibility. If you feel this frequency of understanding resonating in your consciousness, subscribe to stay aligned with these quantum revelations. Your future self guided you here, and there are layers of awakening still to unfold. When you reprogram your RAS and step into expanded perception, you literally step into a different dimension of existence. What quantum physics calls tunneling is actually the mechanism by which you step into a completely new version of yourself, instantly. You're remembering this now because your consciousness has reached the frequency where linear thinking dissolves and quantum possibilities become your lived reality. Every moment, you have the opportunity to tunnel through the barrier of your current limitations and emerge as your future self. This isn't metaphor. This is the observable, measurable way quantum particles navigate reality. And it's the exact same mechanism available to your consciousness. You are remembering your future. In the quantum world, particles don't waste energy trying to smash through barriers they can't overcome. Instead, they perform something that classical physics said was impossible. They change their vibrational frequency and spontaneously appear on the other side of the obstacle. One moment, the particle exists on one side of an impenetrable wall. The next moment, it exists on the other side, having passed through a region where it technically wasn't supposed to be able to exist. Your current limitations operate exactly like quantum barriers. They appear solid, immovable, real. The classical approach tells you to gather enough energy, willpower, resources, time, to overcome these obstacles step by step. But while you're building up energy to fight the barrier, you're reinforcing the barrier's reality in your consciousness. Quantum consciousness works differently. It doesn't fight barriers, it transcends them. You are remembering your future. Think about the version of yourself that no longer has your current problems. That version isn't struggling with money. They've transcended scarcity consciousness. They're not fighting with relationships. They've tunneled into love frequency. They're not battling health issues. They exist in a dimension of vitality. This isn't some distant future self you have to become gradually. This is a parallel version of you existing right now in a different quantum state. The gap between who you are and who you're becoming isn't space. It's frequency. Have you ever had a moment where everything suddenly clicked? Where a solution appeared that seemed impossible moments before? Where your entire perspective shifted and what felt like an insurmountable problem simply wasn't there anymore? That was quantum tunneling in action. You didn't solve the problem. You changed your vibrational frequency and emerged in a reality where that problem didn't exist. Classical thinking traps you in the illusion of linear progress. It tells you that change is slow, gradual, that you must work your way through obstacles step by difficult step. But quantum consciousness reveals that transformation happens in instantaneous leaps between dimensional states. You are remembering your future. If you can feel your future self calling you forward, declare in the comments, "I am tunneling into my highest potential." Let this statement serve as a vibrational bridge, collapsing the illusion of distance between who you are and who you're becoming. Your future self, the version of you living the life you desire, exists right now in superposition. They're not waiting for you to earn your way to them through struggle and time. They're waiting for you to recognize that the only difference between you and them is the frequency you're choosing to embody in this moment. When you try to become your future self gradually, you're operating from the classical illusion that you must overcome your current limitations to reach a new state. But quantum tunneling works by embodying the vibrational signature of your desired state now, which creates instantaneous emergence in that reality. This is why trying harder often takes you further from your goals. When you try to lose weight while maintaining the consciousness of someone who struggles with weight, you're sending mixed quantum signals. When you work on abundance while operating from scarcity frequency, you're attempting to tunnel while anchored to your current state. Quantum tunneling requires complete vibrational alignment with your destination reality. You are remembering your future. Your current problems exist in a specific dimensional frequency. Your desired reality exists in a different dimensional frequency. The moment you fully embody the feeling, thinking, and being of your future self, you don't gradually move toward that reality. You instantaneously emerge within it. This is what mystics throughout history have been pointing toward when they spoke of enlightenment, awakening, or transformation. They were describing the quantum leap from one state of consciousness to another, the tunneling from limited identity to expanded being. But you don't have to wait for some special moment of awakening. Every instant offers you the opportunity to quantum tunnel into your highest potential. The question isn't whether you have this power. The question is whether you're willing to let go of the familiar frequency of your current limitations to emerge in the unknown territory of your expanded self. Consider this. The version of you that lives in abundance doesn't worry about money. They operate from overflow consciousness. The version of you in perfect health doesn't monitor symptoms. They resonate with vitality. The version of you in loving relationships doesn't analyze and protect. They emanate unconditional love. You are remembering your future. These aren't future goals to achieve. These are present moment frequencies to embody. The moment you stop trying to become someone else and start being someone else, quantum tunneling occurs. You don't change your circumstances to match your desires. You change your frequency to match your future self, and reality reorganizes to match your new quantum signature. This requires letting go of your attachment to your current story. Your struggles, your limitations, your problems, these are not you. They are simply the experience generated by your current frequency. The moment you identify as your future self rather than your current circumstances, you begin to tunnel into that reality. Classical thinking says, "I'll be happy when my life changes." Quantum consciousness says, "When I become the version of myself that's already happy, my life has no choice but to change." This is the shift from doing to being, from trying to allowing, from force to flow. You're not working your way to a better life. You're quantum leaping into the version of yourself that naturally experiences that life. You are remembering your future. What would change right now if you fully embodied the frequency of your future self? How would you walk, speak, think, feel if you already were the person living your desired reality? What beliefs would you hold? What energy would you emanate? What would you pay attention to? The answers to these questions aren't intellectual concepts. They're vibrational instructions for quantum tunneling. Every moment you embody these qualities, you're not practicing for the future. You're emerging as your future self now. But here's where this individual transformation reveals its true cosmic significance. When you quantum tunnel into your highest potential, something extraordinary happens that connects you to every other consciousness making the same leap. Your personal liberation becomes a catalyst for collective evolution, and that's when you discover the most profound secret of all. Share in the comments what version of yourself you're choosing to tunnel into. Your declaration creates quantum entanglement with others making the same leap. When you quantum tunnel into your highest potential, something extraordinary happens that connects you to every other consciousness making the same leap. You're discovering this now because your individual transformation has reached the frequency where its cosmic significance becomes undeniable. Your personal liberation is not a private event. It's an act of service to the conscious evolution of humanity itself. What quantum physicists call entanglement proves that consciousness is not a collection of separate, isolated minds, but a unified field of infinite potential. Every breakthrough you make, every limitation you transcend, every moment you choose conscious observation over unconscious repetition sends a signal through this collective field, making the same breakthrough more accessible for everyone. You are healing the collective. When two particles become quantum entangled, they remain mysteriously connected regardless of the distance separating them. Change the state of one particle, and its entangled partner instantly mirrors that change, even if it's on the other side of the universe. This isn't just a curious phenomenon, it's the fundamental architecture of reality itself. Your consciousness operates within this same quantum framework. The moment you break free from a limiting pattern, you don't just change your personal reality, you weaken that pattern's hold on the collective consciousness. Every fear you transform, every doubt you transcend, every limitation you tunnel through, creates a pathway that makes it easier for others to follow. This is why you feel such resistance when you're on the verge of a breakthrough. It's not just your personal conditioning fighting change. You're challenging patterns that have been anchored in the collective field for generations. But you're also not doing this work alone. You're supported by every consciousness that has ever made the same leap before you. You are healing the collective. Think about the patterns that have plagued humanity for millennia. Scarcity consciousness, fear of abandonment, the belief in separation, the illusion of powerlessness. These aren't individual problems. They're collective programs running in the shared field of human consciousness. Every person who breaks free from these patterns doesn't just heal themselves. They participate in the healing of the entire human experience. This is why certain breakthroughs seem to happen simultaneously across the globe. Why revolutionary ideas emerge in multiple minds at the same time. Why solutions to ancient problems suddenly become obvious to many people at once. It's not coincidence. It's quantum entanglement operating at the level of collective consciousness. Your personal journey of awakening is actually a remembering of your role as a conscious architect of human evolution. You came here not just to transform your own life, but to be a pioneer of expanded possibility for the entire species. Have you noticed how your transformation affects the people around you without you even speaking about it? How your energy shifts and suddenly others begin questioning their own limitations? How your increased frequency seems to give others permission to explore their own potential? This is quantum entanglement in action. Your elevated consciousness literally broadcasts new possibilities into the collective field. You are healing the collective. If you recognize your role in humanity's conscious evolution, affirm in the comments, "My transformation transforms the world." This declaration creates quantum resonance with every other consciousness awakening to their cosmic responsibility. The classical worldview sees individual transformation as separate from collective change. It believes that you must first fix all the external problems in the world before inner peace is possible. But quantum consciousness reveals the opposite truth. Inner transformation is the primary mechanism by which collective reality evolves. Every moment you choose love over fear, you strengthen the love frequency in the collective field. Every time you operate from abundance rather than scarcity, you make abundant thinking more accessible to others. Every instance you embody your future self rather than your past limitations, you expand the possibility template available to human consciousness. This is not metaphysical speculation. This is the measurable, observable reality of how consciousness operates at the quantum level. When you heal a personal trauma, you don't just free yourself. You participate in healing that trauma pattern wherever it exists in the collective unconscious. When you transcend a limiting belief, you don't just expand your own possibilities. You make that expansion available to every consciousness ready to receive it. You are healing the collective. Consider the profound responsibility and privilege of this understanding. Your thoughts are not private. They contribute to the collective thought field. Your emotions are not isolated. They influence the emotional atmosphere of humanity. Your choices are not merely personal. They vote for the kind of reality that becomes available to all consciousness. This is why authentic spiritual work is never selfish, even when it appears to focus solely on personal growth. The person who dedicates themselves to conscious evolution, who does the inner work of healing and expansion, who commits to embodying their highest potential, is performing sacred service to the entire human family. But there's an even deeper layer to this cosmic responsibility. The collective field doesn't just connect all human consciousness, it connects all consciousness, period. Your transformation ripples through the entire web of existence, contributing to the evolution of life itself. When you break free from the illusion of separation and remember your true nature as infinite consciousness, you're not just healing human patterns. You're participating in the universe, becoming aware of itself. You're helping consciousness evolve from unconscious creation to conscious creation on a planetary scale. You are healing the collective. This is why the resistance to your growth often feels disproportionate to the change you're making. You're not just changing your personal reality, you're challenging the momentum of collective unconsciousness that has been building for centuries. Every breakthrough requires courage, not just to face your personal fears, but to stand against the gravitational pull of collective limitation. But you're also supported by something far greater than collective resistance. You're supported by the evolutionary impulse of consciousness itself, by every awakened being who has ever walked this path, by the future potential of humanity calling you forward into greater embodiment of what's possible. The work you're doing, the observer loops you're breaking, the limiting beliefs you're transcending, the future self you're embodying. This isn't just personal development. This is conscious evolution in action. You are literally helping to birth a new level of human consciousness. Your breakthroughs become humanity's breakthroughs. Your healing becomes collective healing. Your liberation participates in the liberation of all consciousness everywhere. You are healing the collective. As you integrate this understanding, you begin to see your daily choices in a completely different light. Every moment becomes an opportunity to contribute to the conscious evolution of reality itself. Every breakthrough becomes a gift to the collective field. Every limitation you transcend makes transcendence more accessible for all. You didn't find this information by accident. Your future self, your highest potential, guided you here because you're ready to step into your role as a conscious architect of collective transformation. You're ready to understand that your personal liberation is your greatest service to the world. The question now is not whether you have this power. The question is how consciously you'll wield it. How deliberately will you participate in the conscious evolution of humanity? How fully will you embody your role as a pioneer of expanded possibility? If you feel the profound responsibility and privilege of this cosmic role resonating in your being, declare in the comments, "I am a conscious architect of reality." Your words create quantum entanglement with other awakening consciousnesses, forming a network of transformation that accelerates humanity's evolution. Share this video with others ready to remember their part in this cosmic awakening. Your sharing multiplies the frequency of conscious creation exponentially. You are not just changing your life, you are recalibrating the cosmos,